Good evening, everyone. We will call this meeting to order at 5:15 p.m. First, we'll begin with roll call concerns. We have by Mia.
Working on that.
Okay, thank you, Mia.
Say, there's an optional sign-in sheet going around. You're not required to sign it. If you see it, it's optional. If you don't want to sign it, you just pass it to the next person.
Okay, while that is going around, we will move on to agenda approval. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today?
Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconds.
You go ahead.
Can we make an amendment? Can we table the supplemental request until next meeting to allow for more? A friendly amendment to.
Okay, so do we have a vote on a friendly amendment to that motion?
All motion to approve the supplemental request moving to next week.
I'll second that.
All right, well, the second, we'll go ahead and have a vote. David. Aye. All right, ayes have it. The agenda has been approved with the adjustment. All right, next we'll move to reports. First will be myself, Chair. So before we begin public comment, I just first want to thank everyone for coming here tonight and showing up. And I also would like to remind everyone to maintain decorum. That means no shouting, name calling, or personal attacks. Speak respectfully and keep your comments directed to the committee as a whole. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. At 3 minutes, we will ask you to please allow the next speaker. Then please step up to the microphone after that. And after each speaker speaks, thank them for their comments. That's I was scared there one. Not as good as the offer, but that's okay. Then next we'll move on to advisory reports.
Okay, all, hi, Robbie Gonin, serving as the S&A member, and I just wanted to provide some clarification on the process for the base funding recommendation shared to you all in March. So the committee reviewed over 40 funding requests, which include presentations, financial statements, program reviews. Based on this, they finalized their recommendations, which is what was shared with you all and your advisors. So next steps, so the recommendations have been shared with the CFO and CWU. They will be presented at PBAC, which is next Tuesday, the 22nd at 3 p.m. in 301, where you are right now. But just remember that PBAC has no voting or recommendation abilities. It's purely just an informational. The final decision on the recommendations will go to the Board of Trustees for review during their meeting on May 15th and 16th. And the BOT is who has the authority to approve or send back the recommendations for revision. So for guidelines on the use or approval of S&A fees, please feel free to refer, of course, to the Killian guidelines, the CWUP 8-40, and the RCW, which is 28B.15.45. Lastly, this committee's students have notified me that they have some project commitments and class commitments after the meeting today. So I know I told somebody over here, we will be adjourning the meeting at 6:30.
I thought that there was no end time.
Yes, I apologize. I was just notified by a few of my students that they have class and group projects that they need to accommodate.
I'm so sorry.
I can't.
I'm missing one.
Hi, I'm Erin Sargent. I am the financial advisor for the S&A fee committee, and my report is related to the supplemental budget. As of today, you all have approved 78,000, or excuse me. That's what you have left. You have approved a recommended 146,695.35 for supplemental funding, and these requests included travel requests and miscellaneous support for S&A funded areas, you have, there's a remaining amount of $78,651.65.
One, Nicholas, via the Vice President for Student Governments. At least for updates, the ACW has not voted on the fee increase. That will be voted on tomorrow's public meeting at 7 a.m. And we will be discussing that later within the S&A fee increase deliberation. And additionally, as an ACW member on this committee, I wanted to express my perspective on the recommendation. We deliberated for 16 hours, had to reduce allocation roughly by $800,000. And through great effort, we created this recommendation. We did not target any specific program. I thought we did the best to have an equitable allocation of S&A fee. Some programs were not funded due to ties to academics, and some were heavily reduced because they were tied to academics. Additionally, I also wanted to clarify I was wrong about S&A's ability to recall the recommendation, and as the advisors have elaborated on the correct process. If there's any fallacies, thoughts, or arguments on this recommendation, I will continue to implore you to advocate on it. In this meeting, the next public meeting from the BLT, tomorrow's meeting, the PFAC meeting, the 22nd, the Board of Trustees meeting in May. I also ask and like to remind students decisions made by S&A were done by fellow students. And I ask that you continue to keep this conversation targeted on the decision, not the students involved, as we have a common goal of providing services, activities, programs, and resources to all Wildcats. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, advisors. We'll move next to communications received, which will be posted along with the minutes on the websites after the meeting. Okay, next we'll move to our first call for public comment.
My name is Jay Peltner, and I am a Theater Studies BA and a current paid employee in our scene shop. I would like everyone here in support of the theater department to please stand up or raise your hand. This decision to cut our funding for student work entirely affects real people earning fundamental experience. Please consider me and the people here with me in support. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you for your feedback.
Hello, my name is Sophia Engstrom, and I'm a senior in the Theater Design and Production BFA program. I have been a student employee working in the theater's costume shop for the past 2 years, an experience that has opened doors to job opportunities for me, as well as enriching my time on campus. S&A has been funding student employment in the theater department since 2008. For the past 17 years, this has enabled students to apply skills learned in classes in a professional work environment. Employment at our theater department is uniquely positioned to support the students, as we are the only organization within 35 miles of Ellensburg to offer theater-based entertainment work, and we house the only fabrication shops operating during the academic year within 100 miles. Without funding, many of our students will have to make the difficult choice of choosing an in-town survival job outside of our field of study, or commuting long distances for jobs that don't work with their academic schedules, negatively impacting our schoolwork. The ability to build these skills at Central is so vital, especially in the theatrical field, where experience is equally important to education. In my experience job hunting, even the most entry-level professional costume shop positions after 2 to 3 years of experience working in a shop. My time working at Central has made me eligible for these jobs as a graduating senior. It has directly prepared me in a way beyond the capacities of coursework. There was no direct replacement for shop work in terms of furthering our education. In section 1 of the S&A's guidelines for permissible use of services and activity fees, the board defines the student activities that they aim to support as any college co-curricular or extracurricular activity participated in by students for the furtherance of their education. I was shocked to see in the proposed budget for this quadrennial that the theater and film department received a recommended budget of $0 on the basis of the funds being, quote, more appropriately directed towards initiatives that are not co-curricular to required coursework. Co-curricular initiatives that students participate in to further their education are exactly what the S&A claims to want to fund. This student employment is allowing us to practice skills in a professionally modeled experience, furthering our education in leaps and bounds. My job in the costume shop directly helped me get hired at a theater over the summer, and the skills I applied in Central's costume shop directly set me up to be successful at that job. I ask you to consider how important these jobs are for CWU theater and film students. They simply cannot be replaced by coursework. These employment opportunities are singular in their value, and I urge you to reconsider your decision not to fund them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello, my name is Cesar Trejo, and I've been a student employee in the Department of Theater and Film for 4 years. I started my spring quarter for my freshman year as someone with little technical problem-solving skills and non-existent people skills. As I went along, I grew as a person, student, and employee, and found myself as a head carpenter. A title I earned through hard work and dedication. A title that tells those around me that I have reached a level of understanding in my job equal to those in professional environments. While I am graduating this spring, I felt it important to come out and speak about my experience as a student employee. In my 4 years of working, I learned a great deal of technical carpentry skills through real-world problem solving, as well as developing my interpersonal shop-specific skills between me and those I work with. Because of this opportunity I was given, I was able to secure a high-paying technical theater position that's waiting for me the second I graduate. A position that I would not have been considered for if I had not had 4 years experience working in a scene shop on my resume. I hope for you to reconsider your decision so that other students are able to have the same opportunity. Thank you.
We appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kylie Copeland. I'm a junior here at Central Washington University, and I'm part of the 18% of our costume shop employees that aren't theater majors. I am an aviation major. This job has enriched my college experience by allowing me to enhance my skills in a professional setting while not having the space to do so in my class schedule. Being able to work within walking distance of my apartment and set my own schedule has been critical due to the fluctuating class schedule of the aviation industry. Without that opportunity, I would not be able to work and I would not be able to pay for my college education. This has also provided me access to a new community. Being able to experience new people and methods of another department makes me feel more connected here at Central Washington University. Finally, I receive work study, which is through the college. A grant that would go to waste if I now have to find a job off campus to work with my schedule. Financial aid pays for my rent and schooling, and as an out-of-state student, it is critical that I receive the work study as much as is available to me. With 0 allocations to the department, nobody can use the financial aid and work study. We would have to find jobs off campus. Vice President, you mentioned that this was an equitable decision, but you've left an entire department, the theater and film department, without any funds for any student employees. Thank you for your consideration and your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello, my name is Zoe Ryan, and I'm the creative director for Pulse Magazine. In fall quarter of 2024, I felt as if I truly found my space and passion at Central Washington University when I took this position. During my time here, I have spent 3 wonderful quarters with Pulse. It is very disheartening to hear the proposed funds for student media, which would diminish the student voices on campus. With Pulse, I have found a home, a second family. Nonetheless, it has become a vital part of my daily life. I am a graphic design major, and without Pulse, I don't know where I would be. I have boosted my skills entirely through the accomplishments and hardships of designing for this magazine. I have learned how to become a better graphic designer, director, and have become made some of my most important networking connections in life because of Pulse. I feel immense joy and pride to have my designs published in a magazine that is printed. Having a printed publication to hand to students, my family, friends, and future employers is something I take joy and pride in. This class has better prepared me to use my degree more than any other program at Central. The community is profoundly uplifting, and I have created some of my truest friendships due to Pulse. In this class, I have personally become my most creative, bouncing ideas off of all my team members and hearing what they say to create the best version of our publication. This group of writers, photographers, and designers have exceeded my expectations and have gone far beyond their allotted pay hours and class hours to get the magazine printed on time. It is my honor to visually express student voices at Central Washington University with my amazing team of designers through the printed publication of our magazine. Through student media at this school, I found my true passion of journalism and publication, and I want my entire life to be surrounded by it. However, with this proposed fund from S&A, there will no longer be a printed magazine. More importantly, there will be no future generations of students to experience student media like I have. This isn't just the death of student media for me and the people in this room. This is the death of student media at Central Washington University. No longer will students get to experience printed media that proves to them that the school is listening. Without student media, the diverse voices on campus would be silenced. Pulse and Observer are for the students, by the students. We will fight to maintain the life of these publications, and we will fight for future students' voices to be heard and experience student media at Central Washington University. Thank you for your time.
I didn't know I was going to be speaking today about 10 minutes ago, so I'm a little scrambled, sorry. But I am very hurt and frustrated by the suggested budget cut. I'm not just for Pulse Magazine, but for the Observer, the mariachi band, the swim team, and every other student organization that is going to be impacted by this. Look at everyone in this room. Like, actually look around at everybody in this room. Everybody in this room is being hurt by this decision in some way. And there's more. We're at capacity, and that's not even accounting for all the people who could not be here today. These are students' passions. We are paying tens of thousands of dollars every year to be here. I'm going in debt to pursue my dreams here at Central Washington University. At the university level, clubs and student organizations are not just after-school activities. These are not for fun. These are gateways into people's futures and into future careers that people cannot achieve without these organizations. I do not want to be told that Pulse's work is appreciated. I want to be shown that it is.
Good afternoon. My name is Z Morris. I'm the lead graphic designer of the Observer newspaper, and I'm currently missing one for this. The S&A committee follows the Washington Administrative Code, the WAC for short. WAC 132F contains guidelines surrounding journalistic freedom and responsibility. Section 1 reads, the primary purpose of student publications is to promote free and responsible discussion of campus and community events. Section 4 goes on to say, student newspaper shall be free of censorship. The budget the S&A has proposed for the Observer is not sustainable, and it could lead to the collapse of campus journalism. This is not only censorship, this is silencing. The proposed budget is $1,100 and was allotted for web hosting and awards. Currently, hosting a website with our current plan costs $850 a year. As the market changes over the next 4 years, the cost of hosting a website may increase as well. Hosting a website takes the majority of our proposed budget. It may even exceed the proposed budget. After considering the price of web hosting, we are left with $250. There's a phrase that I learned at the Associated Collegiate Press conference this year in New Orleans, and that phrase was content is king. While S&A suggests that we use our budget for awards, what we really need is staff to support our content. I work 11 hours a week outside of school to maintain the integrity of this school, and I carry a responsibility to our campus democracy. Someone is paid to run every website. Somebody's paid to run the CWU website. Somebody is paid to run the S&A page, even the WAC website. If we were to use the $250 to pay one position to maintain the website, we would be able to pay them 15 hours in total, not week, total. Several staff members work over 15 hours a week to maintain their online presence. This is not a sustainable way to function over the next 4 years. This campus democracy relies on a press bringing light to issues in our community. We all know that student journalism is being attacked nationally. The decision that is made will be bigger than any individual in this room. This is the future of every voice on campus. I understand that there are people in this room that are running for election, and I'm excited for our election coverage this quarter. We have your back. Do you have ours? Thank you.
I want to start out by saying I think a lot of us are here under this misinformed notion that the S&A committee was able to pull back this budget and reevaluate it. And I think this whole process has been kind of eye-opening in terms of the lack of transparency that happens at this level. I think if a lot of us knew what was going on way back in spring break when these decisions were being made, we would be in a very different place right now. So what I wrote with the intent of speaking to encourage you to pull back this budget and reevaluate it. I'm going to read it anyway, because I know that we will get the Board of Trustees to send back this budget, and I want you to have it in mind when they do. Just to start, my name is Brandon Matisich. I'm one of the co-editor-in-chief of The Observer. Cutting The Observer's funding is not a decision to make lightly, and the repercussions are so much further reaching than any other program on this list. The student press is an essential part of a college campus, and right now, across the nation, freedom of speech is being threatened at almost every level of government. Do you really want to be responsible for the end of a free press at CWU? Responsible for the closure of an 110-year-old institution that has helped victims of assault, that has broken stories of corruption, and that gives a voice to those without? Will you listen to the 300+ students, staff, faculty, and alumni from almost every single department across this campus as they beg you to reverse this decision? Or will you end one of the only remaining pillars of student independence left at CWU? We are prepared to split the class from the paid positions. We will do what we need to do. All we ask is that you give us the opportunity to do so. I don't believe that when these budgets were proposed, everyone at this table truly understood the severity of the decision they were making when they failed to allocate a reasonable budget to the Observer. The service that this historic paper has provided to this campus is one of a kind, and we are not the only people saying this. Since the news of your proposed budgets went public, we have seen a response in the thousands across every major social media platform, across campus, and now in this very room. You are allocating student funds. We are funded by the students. Well, now the students have spoken, and their message is loud and clear. I do not envy your position. Budget cuts are hard to make and even harder to face the impact of. But student media, The Observer, is not something that can just be quietly cut. Removing our funding is not just removing funding. It is directly silencing student voices in a way we haven't seen before. Failing to reevaluate these budgets cannot be an option. Student media needs proper funding at CWU. Please do not be responsible for this historic censorship in a time where students need a platform more than ever. Thank you for your time.
My name is Jackson Roberts. I'm the other co-editor-in-chief of The Observer, and I kind of want to speak to the fact of the impact that The Observer has on our community here in Ellensburg and at Central Washington University. With the funding of student media comes the inability to report the issues that arise at our university. We are often addressed with these areas of concern from students and staff for change at our school. Without us, it is less likely we will see those concerns if anyone on campus ever be addressed. And where else on campus are we going to see certain industries here at CWU be called out, which eventually leads to change that the students are asking for? We have CWU News, but is the school really going to be the one going out of their way to kind of put a spotlight on their own issues on their university? Without us, or with us, we hold the administration accountable by reporting on these concerns from our community, which, like I said, promotes change here on campus. The Observer serves such a unique role on the campus as well as the voice of the students and also a watchdog of campus administration, holding the powers that be accountable and shining a light on the concerns of the students. With so many students coming from different areas, we have such a diverse audience as well, who all have different other perspectives and that they are able to share through student media as well, whether it's Pulse or Observer. Not only are we important to the community, but we bring the school plenty of accolades that boost the departments as well. In Lynn Hall, we have the Observer's staff spend long nights in the design room as well as Pulse Magazine, and in there is a trophy case with a lot of our awards that say for the students. And taking away student media goes directly against that being for the students. Censoring student voices right now in a time when they need to be heard more than ever is not the right thing to do. It is not a good look for the school. And I actually have a few questions for you guys as well, if you are able to answer them. So I want to know, when you made the original budget proposal, how much do you know about the Observer and Pulse, and how much do you know about how we operate? If you guys are able to answer these questions.
We're not answering questions right now.
I'm going to repeat the rest of the questions. They're stated on the record though. Did you research our websites, or what steps were taken to bring you to the point of practically defunding student media with the budget that is basically a death sentence to us? And are all videos available online of you all going over where the money was going to be allocated to, or were some of those not published? And then why is Killian Guidelines an issue now when this has been the main way of being supported for student media since the 1990s? Those are my questions. I appreciate your time.
Online would like to share.
Hi there, my name is Mariah. I just want to say first off, much like Brandon, this was written prior to understanding the process here, but just putting it into the record here. The Central Washington University Services and Activities Committee has plans to defund the Observer and Pulse magazine. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't just a headline, this is a gut punch to the history of students in the past, present, and future. Let me be blunt. The Observer is the reason where I am today. In June, I'll hit the 5-year mark working in news professionally. I'm currently a producer at Fox 13 Seattle, and it's honestly not because of my degree. It's because of the experience I gained during my 3 years working at the Observer. Without that, I would not have the foundation to build a successful career in journalism. But beyond my personal success, the impact of the Observer cannot be overstated. It's a living, constantly adapting historical archive that has served this campus for decades. To defund it would be a direct attack on student journalism and by extension, the entire student body. The Observer has a motto that you've heard tonight by a couple students: by the students, for the students. And that isn't just some slogan, it's the heart and soul of the school's community. By defunding student media, you silence students. We're about to celebrate 110 years of the Observer's publication, 110 years. If the powers that be follow through with this decision, they will not only undermine a pivotal part of the university's legacy, they will be making a catastrophic mistake that will hurt current and future students. This can't happen. I truly hope this is some sort of misunderstanding and the community chooses to be on the right side of history. I understand costs are increasing and budget cuts are necessary, but the S&A committee recommends 88 The Berg, which is not technically student media, receive $407,000. The Observer and Pulse combined at $3,100. CWU does incredible work. I was the news director myself at one point, but the difference in funding recommendations is jaw-dropping. If funding fully is not possible, please at least meet somewhere in the middle. It's my understanding multiple funding options were submitted. Not only is student media important to journalism students, but the entire campus community. By defunding these publications, you silence student voices. I attended many S&A meetings as a student, pitching budgets and spending plans for the Observer. I do not remember a time when legitimacy rules issues were concerned about funding. To say students are simply getting paid for a class is not remotely accurate. I would challenge all of you to sit in the newsroom for a single production night. Then you will understand the work these student journalists do. Again, please meet somewhere in the middle at the very least and be on the right side of history. To all the students and all of the programs who have taken the time to speak up today, I'm so proud of you. And this is why I'm proud to be a CWU graduate. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Isaac Henson. I was on the Observer for 8 quarters. First as a staff reporter, and a sports editor, and a scene editor, then as editor-in-chief for a whole year. So if there's anybody who I feel is more equipped to talk about this topic than maybe Dr. Jen Green herself, I think that would be me. First off, I'd like to thank each of you for what you guys do at the S&A committee. I can imagine that, like journalism, it is not only an important and stressful job, but also extremely thankless. I feel better knowing that there's a group of people whose job it is to critically think about where even a small portion of my tuition money is going, especially in our current economic climate, where every dollar found in the cushions is a blessing. which is why it was so disheartening for me to hear your decision that you had made regarding student media. People have preached and sang about what this would mean for censorship and a free press at CWU, and while that is all very important, I feel the real loss would be the learning that students get to do at the Observer. The campus, at CWU. A campus which just today at 4:15 today received word that the rugby program is getting cut completely. Our lone D1 program is being axed. I understand that it is a very, very difficult time at CWU. Who have made these decisions do not understand the work that goes into student media, do not understand how much writing, editing, designing, photography, copy editing, research, on the boots ground reporting goes into this. You don't understand. Joel Clucking doesn't understand. Jim Woolpark does not understand. Someone said that S&A's goal was to serve the students from across campus, everywhere across campus. This is the same mission of the Observer, which not only serves students through reporting, but also through giving them experience. Students studying comm, journalism, creative writing, art and design, film, photography, theater, poli-sci, and many more are all able to hone their skills at student media. What we learn in student media is far more than what we learn in traditional journalism classes, of which there's typically only 1 or 2 per quarter. This is our curriculum. Joining the Observer was the greatest decision I've ever made in my entire collegiate career. I met so many of my best friends, met so many mentors who have taught me so much, been able to pay my rent, learn how to do real on-the-ground journalism. This is not a club for us. This is not a hobby. This is our jobs. This is what we pay for with our tuition. Taking it away would be a travesty. The Observer is an institution at CWU, one of almost 110 years, something that has not only given voices to, but taught students for over a century. Is that really worth removing for a few extra pennies? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gunnar Stuns, and I am the current editor-in-chief at Pulse Magazine. But my true job is to be a storyteller, to give a voice to those who otherwise may not have the opportunity to speak. This is my responsibility, and this is Pulse Magazine's responsibility, and this is the Observer's responsibility. In our media and journalism classes, we learn to do these things in theory, but it is through the Observer and through Pulse that we learn to do these things in practice at a professional level, to have our work published, to have our voices and those we represent heard. I would not be able to do these things otherwise. I have learned in a professional setting to be a leader, to collaborate with writers, designers, and photographers to put out the best product that we can, to learn the practices of journalists and put them into motion. I've learned to interview. I've learned to practice the Associated Press style. I've learned to refine my craft. Without the Observer and without Pulse, I don't believe that I would be the writer, the reporter, or the storyteller that I am today. I do not say these things lightly, and I ask that you consider them. Thank you.
Who would like to share? Would you like to share?
Am I up?
Yep, we can hear you.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, my name is Eric Coughlin. I'm a 2009 graduate of Central Washington University with a degree in print journalism. I spent 8 years on the Observer, hearing that number a lot, and I'm here today because, I mean, the Observer was my life. I was an editor, I was a beat reporter. I even met my wife on the Observer. So it's very important to who I've become and what it's going to allow some of these students in this room to be. I'm deeply disappointed by the S&A Committee's decision to fully defund this publication, citing the Gillian guidelines of justification as a serious misinterpretation. Those guidelines specifically allow for salaries that are directly related to the student program's operations. This is exactly what the Observer's editorial staff are. Students who are doing real essential work produce a campus newspaper. They're not being paid for coursework. They're not being paid for curriculum development. They're being modestly paid for late nights, tough deadlines, and the responsibility of informing their peers. To defund the Observer at this moment, when student journalism and the First Amendment needs our protection more than ever, is not just short-sighted. It's a disservice to the campus community and a dismissal of the vital role this publication plays in student life. The Observer shaped me in ways that went far beyond the newsroom. It taught me to think critically, ask hard questions, and give voice to those who might otherwise go unheard. That impact was so lasting, so foundational to who I am today, that 16 years after graduating, I find myself compelled to attend this meeting, not out of a nostalgia, not out of responsibility, responsibility to ensure that the opportunities I had are preserved for the next generation of students. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Astor Powell Peterson. I have been with the Observer for 4 quarters now, both first as a staff reporter, then the news editor, and then as the copy desk lead. I, unlike many of my colleagues, am not a journalism student or a media student. I am a political science student. So I'll talk about what I know about. We can see all around the country that at a time like this, we need free media. We see fake news going around everywhere. We see students who cannot tell the difference between real writing, real photos, and AI. We see students who do not know how to read across this country. And we see people who do not know how to tell the truth from fiction. The biggest part of student media is not only spreading our student voices across campus, but teaching students who are part of the media how to discern truth from fiction, how to express this truth in an objective way, which is clearly at a shortage in our country and in the world at the moment. The Observer has been my life for the last year. I have spent countless hours, far more than out of class hours, far more than the 10 or 8 paid hours a week that I got in the newsroom, on the ground, speaking to people and making connections across these campuses that didn't exist before, sharing the voices of people on this campus who were not being heard. Because whether that be part of a marginalized community or someone who doesn't know how to speak out, we need free media and we need free journalism that is accessible to all students, because how else are these stories going to break? Who else is going to pay attention to what's going on campus? Defunding the Observer down to less than $2,000 a quarter, like was stated earlier, wouldn't even cover someone and hosting the wouldn't even cover somebody staffing and running the website for more than 15 hours. Not 15 hours a week, 15 hours, period. This is unquestionably a keystone of our campus and has been for over 100 years. And I beg everybody in this room to acknowledge that and to understand that this cannot happen. Thank you for your consideration.
Hello, everyone. My name is Noah Lovell. I am I'm a first year transfer student here at Central, and I'm a communications major with a minor in journalism. I used to not be good at writing growing up. I consider myself to be a late bloomer in many areas and gifts of my life. Writing happens to be one of them. Telling a story and news is fun, but it's also important. Journalism is an essential part to our society. It is important to be aware of what's happening around us as a community, like here at CWU, society, and the world at large. Seeing the attacks and crackdowns on journalism around the world is heartbreaking and unacceptable. While things like freedom of speech is important, freedom of and access to information is a fundamental human right, especially given the rising monopoly, automated, and corporatization of news. News should always be about focusing on getting the truth and current events out to the public. It's important to have student media, especially in this time of rising censorship, misinformation, and disinformation. I have a passion for telling stories, and I want to be able to make a difference in this world. Through the news and to the general public. We as students are all gifted far more than we or others even realize. And student media is one of many outlets where students can express their gifts. I hope to have an opportunity to work for either the Observer or Pulse magazine next year, and I want to see this available for future students. I am never afraid to fight for what I believe in, and I am never afraid to fight for what I want.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lizette Valdez, and I'm a graphic designer at The Observer and a previous designer on Pulse. I'm just one cog in the machine that is student media on campus, but I wanted to join my colleagues today in saying my piece regarding the budget concerns. What can be said that hasn't already been said beautifully by my colleagues? Well, I will go on to how it has changed my life for all the better. To me, student media is so much more than just a class at Central. It is a community that has given me experiences that have been vital to not only my growth as a student, but also as an artist and as a person as well. As someone who has worked on both Pulse and The Observer, I will never give my thanks enough to the opportunities they have allowed me to not only amplify the voices of others, but also bring attention to issues that are important to me personally. I have been able to share the experiences of myself and of others with issues we have faced, such as with immigration and coming from an immigrant family, and having that be something to not be ashamed of, but to be celebrated. In a time where finding a platform to express our concerns is quickly dwindling, please don't let our school lose its platforms for student voices in such a critical moment in history. The thought that I might be part of the last group of designers on The Observer after a whole 110-year legacy fills me with dread. I don't want us to be the end. I want us to be another chapter in the long history of student media on campus. These publications have helped to bridge the gaps in our school's community and helped us to grow stronger together as a student body. Please don't have us burn these bridges we have worked 110 years to build. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Services and Activities Committee. My name is Liam Dawson, and I'm a second-year sophomore in the Theatrical Design and Production BFA. I've been told that this is a space in which to share our experiences as students, and that is what I've brought mine to the table. I'm what most of the committee might think of when they imagine an average student. 4 years in high school, followed by 4 years in college, with no federal funding towards my tuition costs. By the end of spring quarter last year, I had accrued nearly $8,000 in debt to the university on my student account, and I was told I would not be allowed to enroll in fall quarter. This was despite already working an on-campus position, which limits both my hours and my upwards mobility, which directly impacts the pay that I receive. Along with other supporting resources in this, one of the greatest was the retained shop employees and their accumulated wealth of knowledge, which directed me to seek out the IATSE local nearest. IATSE is the entertainment industry's largest union, encompassing stage employees, graphic animators, film crew, touring event staff, and every non-performer in between that makes production happen. The students involved in creating entertainment opportunities like these happen. The students involved in making entertainment opportunities like these happen are the future of entertainment, and the skill and care honed by our employees is the closest that we can be as students until we are in the industry at large. As luck would have it, I live on the west side outside of the school year, and this allows me access to the IATSE Local 15, with jurisdiction over Seattle and Western Washington. From joining the union in July through September, I earned 387 hours through the union's hiring hall, introducing me to dozens of employers and earning on average $33.52 an hour for the skilled labor that I could perform, with many of the more skilled positions passing me by, as I did not have working experience in shop positions, namely the shop positions currently being discussed. Our department shares original request as well as Sophia's comment. They both mentioned that we are the only theatrical employer within 35 miles and the only fabrication shop during the school year within 100. And I can personally attest to both of these distances. I spent more than 200 hours driving, more than 5,000 miles during that span of time for work alone, to positions ranging from Bellingham to the Gorge and dozens in between. I was able to make more than $10,000 with the work I was able to take, but this number could have put me safely through college had I had the opportunity some of our students have been able to have, and may not be any longer. These opportunities do not exist nearby, and removing them encourages students to seek employment, education, and even enrollment elsewhere. I want to take into consideration that across the board, everyone is worried about funding these days, and we have already seen the strings holding the swords of Damocles cut in far too many places. The 2008 recession is when our funds were first allocated the way that they currently are, and I think that reaffirming your belief in our capabilities to steward a positive change in our culture is the strongest decision that can be made right now. Thank you for your time, and I hope that the following members are allowed your full concentration.
My name is Alana Nelson, and I am a second-year theatrical design and production BFA here at Central. I'm also currently employed as a carpenter in the scene shop in our department. When I came to Central last year, I had hardly any experience in theater, let alone as a carpenter. Now, this is what I want to do with my life. When I came, I was not a leader, and I was not a teacher, and I was not a carpenter. Now, I am all of those things. I have skills and confidence that I could never have dreamed of when I arrived here. And I'm in a position that allows me to share those skills with others. Skills that I have learned from employees before me who shaped my path, who encouraged me to pursue my dreams here. I've grown both as a person and as a professional, and I'm not afraid to show the strengths and confidence that I have now. And my position as employed, as has been said before, it's given me the experience that I need to apply to other jobs in the field outside of Central. It is important to understand what we do. It is not academic. It is not curricular. It is entirely work that we do on our own. We do this for the experience, for the job, for the love of the industry. We do this to gain that experience that we need. Most jobs, they say, you need 2 years of paid experience before you can apply here. I would like everyone in this department, please raise your hands again. All of these people, can they get those 2 years of paid experience without these positions being offered? Look at all of them. Look at me. By defunding us, you are taking away that opportunity. You are taking away the method with which we can gain this experience. Our funding was not just reduced, it was cut. We have nothing. Without that job, without everything that I have done here, I would not be able to pursue my path in this industry. Everyone else that you see, they may not be able to get that opportunity that I have because our funding was cut. We need this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Craig Chappell. I'm the academic advisor for both communication and English, and the interim advisor. So I see a lot of very familiar faces. So I'm speaking on behalf of not just a staff member, but an educator, and a student advocate, and somebody who is very proud of what our students have accomplished. Most notably for Pulse and for Observer. When I first started here about 1.5 years ago, I was unaware of what exactly I was getting myself into. I didn't know very much about our particular departments. I was in secondary education, so I didn't know very much about what was going to happen. But one thing that I've learned from the 1.5 years that I've been here is what our students are able to accomplish through these programs. And I'm proud of every single one, every single student who has accomplished their goals and their dreams through all of our programs here on campus. Observer, Pulse, everybody in the public department. Everybody's just awesome. And I know by taking away these programs, you take away something that students need in order to be successful. That's it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amy Walker and I'm a film production minor.
My name is Trent Meacham, and I am a craft representative film BA major.
My name is Shu Cravey. I'm a film major and I'm also a member of craft.
And I'm also a member of CRAFT, that is a committee of representatives for film and theater. And it is our responsibility here today to bring up another job that is being threatened by these budget cuts. I just want to start that it is disappointing to come here for one cause and find that there's actually another that is being threatened that we actually need to speak about. We stand in solidarity with the other student employees advocating for valuable student work experience that is not taught in their classes. One of the most common entry-level jobs for students entering the film industry is equipment management. The ECC, the Equipment Circulation Center, involves the management and maintenance of film equipment. The manager position for the ECC is threatening, it will be cut if this budget passes. These skills, again, are not taught within the courses of the film program, making this position not co-curricular. Students who work at the ECC pass on these skills to other students, that being the maintenance and management of this equipment, which is not taught in classes. This causes a safety concern as improper management of film equipment becomes a safety issue for students. Proper education that the ECC provides is crucial to prevent this. Periods of low employment have impacted other students' availability to also gain meaningful employment post-graduation. That is, when the ECC is understaffed, other students suffer. The ECC requires a unique skill set, a skill set that is not covered within our program. This unique skill set is vital for many students to obtain gainful employment outside of school. Please reconsider defunding the ECC student position, along with the others threatened by these budget cuts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dan Cully. I'm a sophomore here at Central Washington University studying law and justice. I'm also an active member of the CWU mock trial team, and I'm also a student employee here on campus. Now, before I talk about why I'm here, I want to remind you all the motto of Central Washington University. Live, do, and learn. I am here as a student who consumes student media, someone who wakes up every Thursday morning excited to go to the stand and pick up a new issue of the Observer. I read it front to back every single Thursday. And I want to share a secret with you all about the Mock Trial Club, our superpower. It's love. It's love for the people and love for the work. And let me tell you, the Observer pulls all these student media groups. They love the work. I see the hardworking words and the hope in each and every issue. And I want to remind you again, live, do, learn. The Observer, all student media is catapulting these students into their careers. They're going beyond what normal college sets up for students. Cutting programs like this, cutting the funding, contradicts and restricts your motive here at Central. Live, do, and learn. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nathan Ruff. I'm a film major here at CWU, and I have been a volunteer at AA Lundsberg for the last 2 years of my college career. I'm not involved with Pulse or the Observer in any discernible way, and I'm not very familiar with what the proposed budget by S&A is. However, despite those possible drawbacks or possible uninvolved steps, I felt it was necessary to at least come up and say that as a member of AA Lundsberg, as a film major, as a CWU student, and as an employee here on campus, it is worth expressing that I stand in solidarity with people such as the Pulse, the Observer, Pulse Magazine, student employees, and the film program. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel Genzel, and I am the Senator for the College of Arts and Humanities, and I also work within 88 Lundsberg. Since the beginning of this year, I have been concerned about the work of the S&A Committee.
When I got word that you had defunded student media, I was unfortunately unsurprised due to the Senate's prior experience. This started in fall when I had heard about S&A committee member and student trustee Eli making a joke about how he had defunded the Senate, which was true. He and S&A had cut about 2/3 of our general programming budget, which doesn't only hurt us, but it deprives students of our full event capability. I know the S&A is not a paid position and that you are here hopefully out of the kindness of your heart, but your unpaid position has just jeopardized dozens of paid student jobs that are crucial to supporting our student population's experience and programs. And much like the Senate had to hear about snide comments towards us, I have heard about comments regarding this committee's new budget, specifically about mariachi, something to the tune of an eye roll and a wonder, and they're gonna wonder where their money went. And yeah, they are, and so are all of the other students in this room. Can I get everyone in this room that's an art and humanity major to raise their hand? S&A, please take a look around. This is not just a defunding of student media. This is a defunding of the arts, and that will not happen under my government.
Hi everyone, I'm Hondo. I'm the Senate Speaker for the Board of Directors, and the last 3 quarters now, I've had the honor of hearing the voices of many of our students, but now it's time to use my own. I was there in 2018, standing in former Governor Inslee's office when the Student Press Rights Bill was signed, protecting censorship with Mariah Lane and Sean Bissett for high school and college journalism and media programs. And right now, we need the strength, the dedication, and words I cannot describe, but in simple terms, they are the true voice on this campus. Their ability to do what's needed to be direct and connect with the student body is greater than any organization or club I have been a part of. And I've always said, much to the denial of many, students have the greatest network on any campus, and this room is proof of that. I met with Jennifer Green on a Sunday of our own time just to gain more information, and she made it clear any alternative sources of funding puts their jobs, their skills, and most importantly, their voices at risk of the very thing students fought for 7 years ago. Their skills, their passions, and the dedication and grit to defend what is needed for our students across the board is admirable, and I hope S&A can understand that. Programs like theater have an art that is beyond anything we have seen, and in these times of darkness, we need the programs that inspire hope and light in these darkest hours that are coming on the horizon. Thank you.
Here we go. Okay. My name is Marisol. I'm an elementary education major, and I would like to state that S&A committee has always had public comment throughout the whole process. And this committee is open to all students. As I hear the statements now, I question why these students didn't come to the table earlier. I joined this committee in February, and it has not been anything easy of a task to see what we have to do and everything going on around us. It is my volunteer time, and I enjoy what I'm doing, even though I see the impact all around the community here at Central. It's not an easy task.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gray. I'm a tour guide in training. Before I am allowed to give my own full tours, I have to shadow a certain number, which means I just follow around the veteran tour guide. On my first shadow, I was really nervous. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I would be good at my job, and I didn't know if I would be confident at my job. And we had a family on our tour, a mother and a son. Son was a senior in high school, and they seemed really nervous, and they didn't seem safe. It didn't seem like they knew what they were doing. And after the tour, they came up to me and they started asking me questions about my experience on campus. If I had made good friends, if I had a good community, if I had good connections. And he opened up to me about his experiences in high school. How he really wished he had a newspaper at his high school. And I was able to tell him about the Observer. And I was able to tell him and assure him and his mother that he would be safe here and that he would have a voice. And he lit up. He seemed so happy. And I felt like I was doing a great job. I felt confident and I don't know if I feel like that anymore. I helped him apply that day. He got so excited. He went and bought a Central t-shirt. He was just over the moon about how he was going to get to work for a school paper and have such a wonderful community. And I told him about all of my friends on the Observer. And I feel like I lied to him. I don't know if I feel confident in my decision to be here anymore. This is the direction school is going. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eileen, and I'm a first year here at Central with a major in law justice. At first, I wasn't even sure that I was going to go to Central because this was not my first decision. I wanted to do animation and architecture. I wanted to follow the arts. And the fact that you guys are censoring these arts and having these expressions taken away from students isn't right. I wish that sometimes Central would have these arts, but they did not. I had to go for the second best. Students who applied here in the hopes of building their future because of these arts, hoping that their future would compensate for so much student debt and dedication to their jobs. It's not fair that this budget was seen as numbers and not people. And I'm heartbroken that this is silenced and that I was once one of those students who was dreaming high and dreamed that that arts was gonna help build up. Taking away these arts is just not fair. And simply taking away how these students feel about their voice and helping them address concerns throughout the university, and even expressing a culture throughout these things is not fair. I am a student willing to watch this and help my tuition and funding this. You are not to dictate whose major is more important than the other and what are yours.
Is Lyric Ian, and I am the area head of the Costume Design and Technology Department within the Department of Theater and Film. I'm here to support the students whose experiences I value. A lot of them over here that you've heard from. And I'm here to correct a fundamental misunderstanding that I think is really fascinating. What I see is a committee full of people who have certain guidelines of payment being attached to employment to curriculum and curriculum not being something that is funded. And I've read through the bylaws, but also I shake when I public speak. So this is the best I got right now. I've read them several times. I've highlighted them. What I would like to clarify for absolute bottom line is that employment in that department, in our department, is not connected to academics. It has no prerequisites, and it is frequently multi-departmental. What I see, what I can see, is a misuse of power based on a misuse of responsibility. A committee who has power over budgets like this has power over people's lives, their real lives, their careers, and their entire future. And what I see is many more people who are talking about the grand labor that they have put into that, which I appreciate, absolutely, who did not do the modicum of research to discover that the reasoning that they were using did not even apply to multiple of the departments and groups that they were defunding. I see the kind of authority and power here. Raise your hand if you agree. I'm going to see you all at the board of trustees meeting. Yeah. Yeah. What I would like to say to you, I think that if you wanted the world to know, or the community to know, that they had the ability to come speak before you, I look around and I see a room full of media professionals and budding emerging media professionals who would be delighted to help with that marketing, that publicity, and that genuine transparency if that was a value to this committee. I love giving students jobs. It is my favorite thing to do in the entire world. I got through college on a job. I got through college and into my first job, which led me to acceptance in the top 5, 4 of the top 5 when I didn't go to because I'm from New York. I didn't need to go to NYU. But the top 5 graduate programs in my field and has led me to a lucrative career, which is on a downturn here. For a number of reasons, not least that I can get commission pay better for them if I can get teaching here. However, teaching here and teaching these people is what I value the most. I love giving students jobs and I love when they have empowered voices and space to speak authentically without regulation. And I love when that shit is funded. Do you?
Hello, in the system, I am Megan Inman. A lot of my students know me as Marty Inman. I am an NTT faculty over in the Department of Theater and Film, specifically in scenic design, scenic carpentry, and props and painting. I would like to just reiterate what my students have said here today. I am an example of success in the live entertainment industry coming from low-income family home that would not have made it through undergraduate school without student loan. I was a scenic artist, electrician, and TA in undergrad. This helped me pay my rent and buy food. I'm 29 years old, which is very young for a faculty member. To be able to have gotten to this remarkable place in my career and in the industry is astonishing for my age. This would have not been possible to achieve at this level of success without student employment. And I would like to provide the S&A committee with my CV that proves that I have done all of this work, and a lot of it was student-based work.
My name is Danielle Hegarty. I'm a graduate student here at Central in the History program. I've been here since 2019. I've seen this university go through a lot in the 6 years I've been here. I'm not a journalism or theater student. I'm an appreciator of it. I am a College of Arts and Humanities student, which constantly feels as if this university does not appreciate it or fund it. I am here because I worked as a tour guide for Central and an orientation leader for 3.5 years. It has been my favorite job. It has helped me, you know, grow as a person. And my favorite thing was to tell people, just like we had a student who was in training for the job that I had, tell students that there's a place for them here. And I want you to just remember what it was like to be a high schooler who, I'm a first-hand student. I didn't know what college was. And so when I came to my tour at Central and I was told there was a place for me here, that was amazing. Now imagine like that student who said earlier, if you feel like you lied to a student because that program is not around anymore. I also want you to think how this looks just as an institution. Like look at this room of people. This does not look good. We've been making some pretty rough moves lately, guys. We need to reevaluate some things. I, as a student, if I were a tour guide today, I don't know how confidently I could tell someone in the arts and humanities that this is school for them. That's the hardest thing I've had to say. I love my program. I came to Central for 2 more years. I gave them 2 more years of my money because I love this school. But it's hard because when you cancel the graduate hooding ceremony and you defund the arts programs and there's all these decisions being made, and now we don't have a rugby team as of like 4:15 this morning. Like all of those decisions don't make us look too great. And so if we could do one thing right in this room, to fund those people, just to give one positive PR, because I feel like that's what we need right now. That's all I got.
Hello, I'm Helena Lyman. I am the senator for the graduate students and I'm a graduate teaching assistant. I've been here since 2021 and I just want to address also the fact that like it's great to see this room filled, but that shouldn't be an expectation for every committee meeting because as students, we should be able to put our trust in these committees that they will represent what we want. As a graduate student, I don't have the time to constantly stay in connection with what is happening on campus, along with my other graduate students, because there's a lot of things happening. We have graduate students who are instructors on record despite what the union contract says. And they're busy working, but they know that they can look at the Observer and see what's going on. And it's a voice from the students. It's not me going to the Daily Record and getting it, telling them about the master hooding situation. So we should be able to put our trust in these committees to represent our interests. And the fact that it's just went from, 0 to like 100 to no funding at all is a little disheartening to think that this is what the committee thinks, that this is what the students want. So, thank you.
Next. Rosen, are you ready to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time. I would not want to be in your position, but I would argue that the Pulse and Observer funding does belong in S&A. I am a CWU alumni and I'm a former Pulse staff member, so I was able to see firsthand the wide reach that these publications have in supporting student enrichment, which is again why I believe it does belong on S&A. I understand the proposed budget cut because I could see from an outside perspective that it does look like student dollars are funding a specific academic related program. But I hope you've heard today the different majors that are involved in these publications that get a lot of experience that supports their futures. So we've heard film, comm, journalism, art and design, photography, political science, and so much more. So not only does it support these students academically, but it also does give voice to student body members who aren't a part of these publications as well, because these publications often tell stories from the student body as well too. So these publications really do support everyone, all students at CWU, which is again why I do believe this funding belongs at S&A. And thank you very much.
Hello, everyone here attending this meeting. I am Abed Manuel, and I'm going to be sharing an example of why student media is important, including Pulse is important, because this front cover right here, as a Hispanic student, very close to becoming a Hispanic Serving Institute. So seeing this and seeing all the other first years that could be attending here, that is a Hispanic student. And as a Hispanic student coming into a majority of white school, you have no idea how personal and how emotionally happy I was seeing, again, I say, an Hispanic student. It's unacceptable because there has been other proposals. And I hope you guys look back and look at the suggestions. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you everyone for your public comments, but as Robbie mentioned earlier, we need to finish the other agenda items for adjournment. Okay.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
7 a.m. tomorrow morning, ACU meets.
We have tabled the new business and there's no old business, so we'll move on to.
No.
So we'll move on. Do we have a motion to adjourn today's meeting? Do we have a second? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, the ayes have it. Today's meeting is adjourned at 6:29 p.m.
We wanted 15 more minutes, I think, to replace that was delayed in the beginning. Just one second.
That's